Alright, let me make sure that this is all going through. Let me make sure this is live. No, it was, it's Motorhead. And I'm trying to make sure that it's not echoing too bad, because I don't want to get copyrighted or anything like that. But like, one, I'm here and I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying to get anybody to join anything right now. I'm literally just live. So I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't bleed through too bad. Because typically, so usually what I do whenever I do any projections or whatever, I usually just blast music on in the background. Some people like to work in quiet. Some people like to work with like classical music. I just throw on music and just work. So ideally, it won't bleed through too much, and if it does, I guess we'll just be copywritten. I don't really care. I haven't worked on uh, this race yet, but I have been looking at everything. Also, I don't know if I'm gonna be looking at the chat much. Like if anybody's in here, I'll talk. So I'm happy to see you in here, Josh. But I'm mainly here just working. Let me move that. Take that off. Actually, I'll leave. That doesn't really matter. I can just show. We'll just leave that there. How are you doing, Josh? Alright, I know NASCAR's over, but how are you doing in general, man? I'm at the point where I'm like, hell yeah, dude, NASCAR's over. I don't gotta worry about nothing. Actually, let's get all this squared away. But I'm mainly just listening through all of Another Perfect Day by Motorhead. I'm listening to that whole album right now. So, if you are curious on what I'm listening to, I'll probably listen to Kiss and stuff later, probably some Motley Crue and stuff. Probably be live for like probably an hour. You know, realistically, this stuff takes me about an hour to do. Um, Not that it needs to take that long, but I'd like to get my lineups done and everything. So we gotta, at least for me, because I do everything manually, I gotta get this in there. Let's see. Gotta find Sergeant. And I get to be in my comfy chair. I don't know. I just, dude, I never complain about like working or having to do. What the hell's Alonso at? I never complain about any of that. I'm always just comfortable, just here chilling. Let's see. Let's get Perez. How's your weekend going in general? I'll look at the chat in a second. At least I got caught up when I finish this. Let's see. Norris. 15. 16. Oh man, I typed it wrong. 16. 16. I missed one. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. Norris is 15. Ocon is 16. 17. 18. Ah, shit. Hold on. Whoopsie. Forgot to add. Actually, I forgot to add. We're gonna delete this one. All right. Oh, that's good. So you're doing well. Yeah, the F1. I mean, so for me, because F1, I think F1 is quite boring, to be frank. I really think F1 is like one of the hardest racing series to fucking watch because nothing happens. But I have been excited for I've been excited for the Vegas race since it was announced last year. I've enjoyed the weekend. I'm watching it for the spectacle. I love Vegas. I think it's awesome as fuck there going through the city. I think it sucks for everybody involved in Vegas. I feel horrible for because that's a disaster if you're in Vegas. Both as a fan, if you live there, if you work there, that this week sucks. This week is terrible. But I'm very much enjoying this one. Stayed up for FP1, FP2, Q yesterday, all that stuff. So I'm excited, and it's like a Saturday anyway. So like me staying up till like 3 on a like 3 a.m. Sunday morning is nothing new or nothing wild. Let me make sure I got this grid. Moving on to damage case by Motorhead. I got Leclerc, I got Max, I got Russell, Gasly, Albon, Sargent, Bottas, Magnussen, Alonso, Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Nico, Daniel. I got Norris, Ocon, Zhao. Okay, so that's right. So before I start, and this is just kind of me talking out loud here as I think about this stuff. The grid is pretty wild. I don't know how many lines I'm gonna do. I'm thinking maybe 3, 4, 5. I can't imagine I do anything more than that. The grid is pretty wild, and you can approach this in two ways. You can approach it to where there's not going to be much passing in terms of teammates passing each other because they're spread out so much. There's not a lot of passing in general, although like you're gonna have passes down the main straightaway because that bitch is just so long. We might have some crashes down that straightaway with how hard that left-hander is at the end of it. But do you project them to like beat the teammate that they're beating by default here? Do you project somebody to go through the field? I would have to assume that you have to project them to beat their teammates by how they're starting right now. And that's not even, we're not even worried about the finishing position right here. I'm thinking more about teammates. And due to that, we have to identify what constructors are going to be viable here. So I don't project constructors anymore because I just found it a bit of a waste of time for me. But when we're looking at these constructors here, we can probably X out certain constructors. So like we're not playing Williams, we're not playing Alfa Romeo, we're not playing Haas. The fact that both McLarens are starting in the back, we're eliminating McLaren. I want to see what Sabersim's doing as well before I even start. I'm going to actually just run Sabersim by itself. Let that run and then come back to all this stuff. So, who am I, actually, we'll just move. I'm going to assume the thing's going to be crazy. We'll use this. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Alright, we'll let that run. The reason being is so, like, when I'm looking at DraftKings just right now, and I look at the constructors, like Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferraris are the ones we're dealing with. So it's going to pretty much point to salary constraints for the constructor today. Because it's either, like if Red Bull's going to work, Sergio has to get through the field. And we've seen, I'm actually going to close, I'm going to move to this one. We've seen that the way these races have been playing out, like Max was optimal this last time because Sergio just couldn't get to third. Alonso beat him, so he was finished fourth. If he finishes third, it bumps Max out of the optimal lineup because you needed either Max and Red Bull or Sergio and Red Bull and stuff. I don't necessarily think right now that Perez is going to be able to get to third tonight. So it moves it to either it moves it to Mercedes or Ferrari work, and the $600 difference is probably going to be pretty minute. So, as I'm kind of working, what I typically do, usually I'm never live for this aspect, or I try and like, if when I'm actually like selling stuff, like, oh, let me make sure the live stream is good to go, it's easy to follow and stuff like this is literally just me working through everything that I always do. So when I think of the constructor, and you're either getting up to Max and Red Bull, and you're needing a lot of the value plays to come through, which you would need Sargent, you would need Bottas. Bottas has a good chance of actually working out. You'd need Nico to end up beating Kevin. You basically need one of the Haas cars, and most likely Bottas, to stay in the top 10 in order for the Red Bull constructor to work, from what I would see. So, the way that I would view this, and the way that I'm probably going to project finishing positions, is for Mercedes or Ferrari being the optimal constructor. Because we're most likely going to have to try and fit in, duh. Of course we're going to try and fit in every teammate that beats the other guy. But it's most likely being everybody who's starting in the top 10 and starting ahead of their teammate for all the big teams that are going to get there. And so you have Leclerc, you have Russell, you have, and you have basically all the discounted teammates as well, which is very interesting. So you have Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell. So you most likely need two of those guys. You need Bottas. You're going to need one of the Haas guys. Before I even start projecting stuff, let me just see if I throw these guys in driver positions. Yeah, you're going to need a lot of the AK range. You basically need the AK range today. You can even do Alonso. So you're most likely going to need Max. Leclerc, Russell, Verstappen. So we're probably punting with possibly Bottas as captain. This is going to be a tough one here. Okay. Yeah, so just kind of goofing around before I even start. I don't think the Red Bull's going to work out. But let's start actually looking through stuff here. So, yo, what's going on, Tyler? Let's see. What do you think about this race so late, and not F1 related, but what do you think about the new drivers since just so one lateness. I mean, I don't know why anybody's even complaining about the F1 time. This is a European product. Uh, yeah, sure, it's bigger in America, but like, come on, guys, we all can't be self-centered and just have everything revolve around us. This is perfect time for literally everybody else in the world. That's fine. Vegas, do you want to race in the daytime at Vegas? That'd be fucking stupid. Why would you be on the strip in the daytime? You can't highlight anything on the Vegas at night or during the daytime. So I'm perfectly fine with the time. I'm a gamer, so I fucking stay up to like 3 a.m. anyway. That isn't a concern. In terms of real quick, in terms of the driver changes for NASCAR, I don't really care. Like, I'm happy for Williams. I'm glad Weatherman has a full-time ride. That's really about it. Frankly, I don't even pay attention to NASCAR for like the whole month of November, and probably like mid through December. Like December like 15th is when I'll like, oh, let's just see where everybody's at, and then I still won't pay attention to really until like January 1st. I'm gonna start doing all my NASCAR stuff probably, all my research, probably like right after Christmas and stuff. So I'm really not even paying attention to that. So let's kind of look through and start projecting this here. So we most likely have Max is going to... Let me look at other stuff really fast. So let's go through... Look through all these. All of these F1. Where's my data analyst? Here we are. I gotta sort. Where's my F1 thing that I used to follow? I used to follow an F1 data analytics thing. Was it taken off of... What the fuck, bro? Where is all my data stuff that I would normally look at? Interesting. Guess I don't have that anymore. Whoever that was deleted itself. Anyway. I don't think it's really going to necessarily matter how I project these guys up top. I don't think it's really going to matter because it's going to come down to pricing anyway. But I wanted to... Yeah. Okay, whatever. Fuck it. Probably going to run these guys as a podium. We're going to... I'm gonna not worry about these guys at the moment. Let's actually fuck it. Let's not worry about any of this shit right now. So we have 3, 4 has a real likely. It might be Mercedes. It's got to be Mercedes or Ferrari as a constructor. As we look through this, we can even give Gasly. X Ocon start in the back. So let me look at this here. So like, Williams have been showing speed. But what is killing them is the straightaways, man. Like, the Williams are going to struggle on the straightaways. That's just what it's going to be. There's no way they don't struggle on the straightaways. And so anyway, the reason I'm looking up what the Williams are doing is because they're most likely going to fall down. We're trying to figure, or at least I'm trying to figure out who I want to project for fourth. And it doesn't really matter for the price. Okay. Actually, it makes more sense if I project one of these guys for fourth. Probably give Alonso fit. Let's just give Alonso. What does 6 give him? 15, so we'll be at 16 points. Okay, that's fine. I don't think I need to. Why is Stroll? Damn, it's crazy. They fell down. Yeah, so I actually projection for 6 for Alonso makes a lot of sense. That's not going to sway him up or down in the projections at all. So these guys are all. If I put Carlos there, it's going to force him in, which I don't think that makes a lot of sense to project that. I think it makes sense to either put Hamilton. We're going to run this here. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's close enough. At that point, you might have. It might make more sense to give this actually. What is that looking at? Because I don't really want this to be swayed one way or the other. The reason why I bitch so much about sites that do F1 projections is that F1 comes into a lot of 1v1s, and of course, like, if shit gets insane, you know, you're like double playing guys from their own fucking constructor and stuff like that. But like, ideally, when I'm working stuff, I want people projected very similar to each other. Like, this is an interesting dichotomy between Russell and Hamilton right now, because they're so drastically different in pricing. So we got 84 for Russell, we have 94 for Lewis. So like, that 1,000 is going to be huge. Like, you can't find that. You're paying up for one of these guys or not. This is showing that Lewis Hamilton is certainly viable. Like, clearly, it's whoever it's. Dude, I love races like this. I love grids like this because you have both the teammate bonus that is basically locked in until something disastrously happens to their teammate. It makes it to where a lot of 1v1s come directly to salary. It's not even who a good play is, it's literally whatever you can pay up for. And the people you're paying up for are, in this group, from 9th to 12th, and then from 1st to 3rd. And past that, literally any other projection doesn't even fucking matter, because you can't afford people. Like, if you're paying up for your podium finishers, like, you're also not going to get Hamilton. Like, if you're paying up for Verstappen and Russell, you're not getting to Hamilton. If you're paying up for Verstappen and Russell, you're not getting to Perez. If you're paying up for Russell and Perez, you're not getting to Hamilton. Like, it's very easy, in my opinion, to visualize how I want to make lineups. That's why I want to focus so much on the projections for the people who actually matter, and that is the value plays. I think getting what happens with these 1, 2, 3, 4, getting these individuals projected most accurately is probably the most important aspect of this entire race. You have wild cards of McLaren, of the two McLaren guys getting in there. More than likely, like if Oscar finishes like, say he finished like 8th, +5, finishing the race at 16 points. At 78, if you're paying up for more guys, like, what is that? 16. Yeah, you're not going to be able to afford him, and he's not going to be, he wouldn't fit into the optimal lineup. Because you'd end up, what I try and, what I'm doing in my, I know I'm just going to yap it, and this is why, like, I just want to be live. In my head, like, Verstappen is going to score, fuck, I don't know, let me see. Let me look at actual numbers. He's probably going to score anywhere between, like, mid-30s to high 40s. I don't project the lap sled or anything. Because, like, past that, these projections are going to be very similar. And so, like, when we're building lineups, here, McLaren is almost not even involved in the player pool. In order for McLaren to be involved in the player pool, we need to have massive wrecks. We need to have like huge shit going on and stuff like that. And you need Lando to like finish 4th or 5th and stuff like that. Same thing with either Oscar. You need that situation to happen. If I'm not building towards that, so that's 2 out of the 20 guys removed from the pool that we're not working with. We're moving. Back over here. I want to look at Oscar first because he was the cheaper one. Lando is most likely not going to work out at all, so it doesn't really matter what we project either of these guys for, and it doesn't really matter which one of these beat. Now, if Lando runs into an issue and Oscar finishes like 6th or something, well then that's a situation to where like, well, McLaren is in play, and by that point I'm not in consideration to win this thing anyway. So going back, I'm really trying to think hard about what I'm projecting these guys for. This is why it takes me so damn long, because I do everything by myself. We're most likely not concerned about these guys. I want that orange, I want that slight red. We're most likely not concerned with these guys. So I guess it really frankly doesn't fucking matter what I project them for. So let's give 7, 8. Fuck it, 9? Sure, why not? That's both in the points. That's Oscar gaining a ton of positions, Lando gaining positions, Lando beating. Okay, so I think that's a fine projection to work with this. Let me actually remove this, because I do not like having the zeros there. That is too hard for me to pay attention to. So I got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So first guy who stays in the points, probably going to be huge, man. That is probably important. That's not even specifically his exact finishing position. Who's in the points here? We have probably Ricardo fighting with that. We have Ocon. Probably Gasly, Albon, and Bottas. So that's those 5 guys competing to stay in the points. I think I gotta give it to Gasly. So when we look at this here, let's say it even beats. This is what you have to go through and think about so much here. So like, we're trying, at least me, I'm trying to get an idea of what the top 10 is going to look like. We have Gasly. I just have him in 10th right now. I have him being his teammate with the 5 points, but then he's only scoring 3 points here. So like, Gasly is not playable. He would need to be playable, finishing like, even his like F1 scoring is so fucking brutal, man. That's 7th for Gasly at 62. That's horrific, man. You're gonna have a lot of value plays that are gonna score near that. Still 9. Still 6. Where's that at? 6 is 13. So Gasly would have to maintain a run position in the top 6 to even be playable today. So the 10th is not crazy. Okay. So we know that Gasly is most likely not viable. That opens door for Ocon to be viable if Gasly runs into an issue, plus his place differential here. That's why the value plays are so fucking important for F1. Like, that's... So... Let's give... Can you even play fucking Votas either? I think all these guys are gonna get moved back, man. Doesn't even matter. I could have... Typically, I don't like to overlay finishing positions, but I think this one is okay to do that. Okay, so now that I know that... Okay. 10... Dude, this grid is awesome because you're so many people are getting killed on projections and not even doing anything wrong, man. You have these idiots up here that lose positions and are gonna end up with like 3 to 2 points, and then you have like these idiots back here who aren't gonna get in the points, who aren't gonna get the bonus, who are just there. It doesn't matter. This race doesn't matter. The value doesn't fucking matter in this race. The projections don't fucking matter. It's just jamming in the people. So you could play... Actually, this might be open to play guys who aren't beating teammates. That's a viable fucking approach here. That's insane. Okay, let me finish this. Then I can actually get excited and start looking through stuff. So we're like 14. Let's project the guys in the back. I think that makes way more sense. So like Stroll is probably going to finish like 14. Yuki's not going to finish last. He'll finish like, I don't know, fucking 15th or some shit. Zhao will most likely be at the back. Nico's in the old Haas car. Fucking put him for like 14th. It's a good chance that Magnussen moves to like 12 for some shit. You still project this for last. So like, I like this, man. This is a fun fucking slate. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who am I missing? What team am I missing? I got AlphaTauri, McLaren. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, No, I got 10. I do have 10 here. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Wow. It's just, it doesn't matter. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. That is the game today. Get as many of these 7 guys in the lineup as possible. Holy shit. It takes, like, this is what I love about F1. It's such a fucking stupid ass DFS. It's like so stupid. Make sure. Oops. It literally doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So let's open a new one up here. Let's see what they were doing before. Yeah, what's going on, Kay? Also, I'm kind of like, I mean, I've been live this whole time. Um, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to necessarily help uh anyone here. I'm mainly just doing my own stuff, and I'm probably gonna take the screen off now because I'm gonna start building the lines that I want to build here. But um, I'm basically just recording my entire process here, just because I was like, ah, fuck it, I might as well go live. So answering your actual question, can we make classes? No. Um, so when we're looking at this slate, now that I'm at this, so typically when I get to this point is when I'll do live shows. Or like I'll get through all this stuff and then like start ranting and shit. That's when I'll go live. When we're looking at this race here, I can tell you haven't played college football. No, I have played. I have played CFL. I've played CFL. Unless you're talking about college football, then I mean college football. That is just fucking ridiculous. I wouldn't want to put that on anybody. When we're looking at this race, you have to look at this in so many different categories. And I kind of ran about it in the beginning, but I don't think anybody was here. It's because we have 10 people here and I'm basically done with my stuff. F1 is, I mean, all DFS is a math game, but F1 is specifically a math game. This is a primary example of that. So the reason, and this isn't play these guys, not play these guys, I have to visually have like colors on the screen because I'm just autistic as fuck and I need to pay attention to, I need to like I make like visual notes just in colors as I go through stuff. So when we're looking at this race here, regardless if it goes crazy, if it goes green, whatever the case may be or whatever, I would lean towards projecting the teammates who are starting ahead of their teammate to get the 5-point bonus. So that is the philosophy that I'm focusing on. At the same time, as I was going through, I wanted to check and see how guys would project if they beat their teammate, if they moved up, whatever the case may be, yada 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 yada. In my opinion, it doesn't, like, yes, you want to understand who the leader or who the race winner will be. I think that'd be Max. So if we just move forward, that's fine. If we don't have anybody who completely gets dumb, which I think we're going to see a safety car in this race at some point, and we look at the grid and we look at how DraftKings scoring works, it's a situation to where like all the value plays, like actual price, actual points that they score don't fucking matter in this race. It is literally how you finish a lineup. Like for example, as I bring up the fantastic DraftKings thing with a 0 in the account once again, because I haven't fucking won shit in like 3.5 weeks, dude. I've just been depositing like a fucking scrub. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Like we need Max in there, so we'll use Max as an example here. Clearly, we're not playing like 2 Ferraris and stuff, but like probably most likely what we're working with. It's Max, not Max, whatever. Red Bull is eliminated from the constructor. We're not using them. McLaren, for all intents and purposes, is eliminated. The only 2 constructors that I see are potentially viable that are going to score decently well would be Mercedes and Ferrari, due to the fact that you have a situation to where Checo needs to do better. He needs to get a podium, basically. Because last week was a great example of when Alonso beat Checo to the line. it kept it to where you were able to play Max, able to play Red Bull Constructor, put out the value, and fit everybody else in. So like, Checo needs to finish third to fifth for the Red Bull Constructor to work out. He needs to finish third in order to beat Max. I think we can see that those are the paths for the Red Bull Constructor to work out. Anything less or any deviations from that, or not even outrageously good runs by Ferrari and Mercedes, can then cause a better point per dollar play for Mercedes and Ferrari to show up. So like, for example, with Russell finishing like third, Hamilton getting fourth, that'll probably be enough for the Mercedes to be the best point per dollar play constructor, although they won't be scoring the highest if Max wins the race. They'll just work out because you need them to fit in other people. Same thing happens with like Carlos Sainz. If him and Leclerc can finish both in top 5, it would make them be the best point per dollar play. It's not necessarily that we're chasing who that play is, because I don't know which of those is going to be a better play at the end of the race, or where we're at like 8 hours out or whatever. But understanding that like those are the two most likely outcomes, that either Mercedes or Ferrari is the best point per dollar play and allows you to pay up for people in the optimal lineup. So like those would be the two guys that I would be looking to play, because the Red Bull lineups are going to be very easily made. I know the contest is small, but I typically don't want to duplicate in an F1, especially if it's a Red Bull. It's such a constricting build. Like, this is ridiculous, because then you have to like just punt absolutely fucking stupid, and there's not a lot of ways to go here. Even if you go Checo, like we're very limited here, so I'm just not going to deal with that type of build. So we can see that McLaren and Ferrari are most likely the constructors you want to build with. We understand that we're most likely punting at captain, so like that's going to be random. Okay, the captain that works out is most likely just going to be whatever happens. Like, you can build and build certain ways to try and land on that, but like if Albon crashes out, and this is what I was talking about. This is why I take so long making these things. So like, let's just say real fast. I've already put this in, right? Yeah, I have. So like, if Albon wrecks out and Sargent finishes ahead of him, and he finishes like 13th, right? Albon wrecks out, he finishes 13th or whatever. We have a massive wreck. Well, Sargent is only scoring 3 points. I know it says 2 here, but I don't project the add 1 point for. Actually, it's on this one here. It is. Oh, I didn't even have it written down. I need to add 1 point for like finishing the race, so he'd be at 3. In the captain situation, so that would be like what, 4.5 points. Like, that's not going to work out. You would need Sargent to maintain a rent. Like him, the grid penalties for fantasy sports and DraftKings is really huge in terms of limiting what the upside is. That's why, like, seeing these projections this similar, you literally have your 7 guys. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're trying to fit in as many of these fucking guys as possible, and literally everybody else projects for the exact same. It's literally whatever you can fit in past that. So like, answering your question, Kay, like, no, I would not play Max and captain. We are absolutely punting today for captain, which you always do. Like, that's just what you do in F1. Which is why I'm not going to show that aspect of building on stream, because I'm absolutely gonna be building those lineups and messing with that. But trying to determine who makes sense as a captain is based on a lot of stuff. So typically when we're looking here at the bottom of the salary, we're typically building captains with your last 6 guys, and it's literally just luck of the draw, whoever fucking wrecks out, whoever doesn't. Captains that make sense, that are going to score decent even when their guys, even when they lose, they don't get the 5-point bonus from their guys, but their teammates are starting so high up, they're losing so many positions that they're going to be scoring nearly identical points. Like, let's use Bottas for an example. Bottas and Zhou. Although I'm going to continue to call him Gaijin Zhao because I think that is funny because that's the people who make War Thunder. When we look at Botas here, $3,800. He's starting ahead of his teammate. He's most likely going to beat his teammate. All of that stuff. When we analyze where he's probably going to finish, I'll even give him 10th for this example. Let's give him like a benefit of the doubt. He finishes in the points, okay? That might push him up a little bit. But he's starting 7th. He finishes 10th. Most likely going to finish outside the points when we see like Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, all those guys. Alonso, most likely all going to pass him. But we'll give him 10th right now so he has the points. So he beats Gaijin. He finishes 10th. He gets a 5-point bonus. But he's penalized on DraftKings for losing positions. Now that 4 points turns into 6. That situation that would make sense. Like that 6 points from Botas would allow you to build a lot. So like Botas in that sense would make a good captain. It doesn't necessarily matter what it literally doesn't matter what the other drivers in the lineups are doing. Like for example, like I'm most likely not going to build the Botas line. So this will be a great example. So like if we do Botas in the captain, and I'll explain to you why I wouldn't. Or I'm not going to play this line. If Botas does work, like if Gaijin wrecks out and Botas finishes in the points, well then this is a lineup that I would assume that would end up working. You would probably need Verstappen. We're going to assume that everybody finishes probably or beats who they should. So you have like Leclerc, Russell. We're most likely going to come back and we'll put it at the bottom. I just want to see if I can get the construct. Yeah, so like at this point, we're probably going to use, I'm going to use a more expensive one here, so that's 7. So like this is, like if you're running Botas, if you see that like Botas is the optimal lineup, are you able to get to Red Bull? No, you're not. So like yet again, you so like as I'm just staring at the screen, I'm running all this stuff in my head. Like this entire video when I'm just like standing here, like rubbing my head, listening to music. I'm thinking of all this before I even start building the projections. But like if Botas works, you're most likely fitting Verstappen, the Ferrari that works out, whatever the case may happen. We'll put in Mercedes because it's a more expensive one. When we get to this range here, the 5K range, Yuki, Hulkenberg. Well, we're not playing Zhao because Botas works out, so you're stuck 1, 2, 3, 4. The Haas guys cannibalize each other, so you can only run one of those guys. You're most likely not running Stroll because Alonso is up there. You're most likely not running Ocon because Gasly's up there. So you're trying to fit, like, it would be a situation where you're like building like this type of situations. Like if you're building Botas, you're most likely wanting, like Sargent isn't going to work, Magnussen isn't going to work. You're probably running this. Like a Botas line would be this. If I was to build and run a Botas line, it'd probably be this line here. Now the thing that changes this because F1 is so score dependent, and of course score dependent, but the scores are so close together. This is assuming Botas scores the 4 points and gives him the 6 in the captain. Actually, it'd be 5, so that'd be 7.5 in the captain because he finishes the race. If he moves out of the points, this entire line is dead. And all it does is it just takes the one position. If he moves out of the points, he loses positions. That goes from, the 7.5 that we were at. It would be 4, so that'd be 6. So we lose an entire point here. If he starts losing more, like if he finishes 12th, I believe we run to another point penalty. Yeah, so he's at negative 5 points for losing the grid. So now he's at 2, so like that's not viable. We have Gaijin who's scoring 1 point, so that removes both the Alfa Romeo cars from even being in contention. Okay, and that's literally not even including what these other fuckos in the race do. That's literally what 1 to 2 to 3 positions that Botas performs in this race does. That's why I get defensive about F1. I hate it. I like it, but I think people talk about it in too simplistic of fashion and Saber Sim and run the sims and stuff like that. I think their sims are bad. I think that, or maybe not even bad, but I think a lot of people playing aren't like thinking this deeply of understanding what exactly impacts each and every play and stuff like that. So like when we're looking at this here, so like I made the argument for Botas. So like if Botas stays between like 9th and 10th, that's the optimal lineup. If Botas finishes like certainly 7th to 8th, the lineup I had right here is a high contender for the optimal lineup. Where I build like similar, like it'll be like a 1v1 for the Haas cars. It'll be a 1v1, which I don't even think it'd be a 1v1 for Ferrari. It might be a 1v1 for Ferrari, but like then you need like Leclerc to crash out, Sainz to get up to the front. But like that build that I just built there for like Botas would be like the optimal lineup if Botas like can maintain a position that isn't shit. So like yet again, like projections don't fucking matter, dude. Sims don't fucking matter. It's literally just building um, stuff to try and fit in. So like realistically, now here comes the real DFS talk of the race today. Fit in as many of these guys as possible. Now, yet again, it's not double stacking teammates either. Well, and you can't do it because they're expensive. But like I would argue you need 3 of these guys in green. You would need Mercedes or Ferrari constructor, and then whatever value play would allow you to work with that type of stuff. And that's literally it. That's your DFS. That's your DFS picks. That's the answers. That's where it's at. Let's see what you guys are saying here. How long did this take, man? How long have I been live? Yeah, this took me right at an hour to get all this stuff done. And yeah, that's basically all I do. So what I will do at this point, I can do it on screen. I mean, I already have it in here, but I will upload my projections in here. I'll put it in SaberSim not to run the sims, but just to save my ass time. This is why I like the optimizers, because why would I waste my time, which I have in the past? I would waste my time building like 30 minutes worth of lineups here just to see the builds, or I could just tell SaberSim, hey, can you build me, 5,000, which they've already done this. This is the possible 2,626 lineups that I can build with my projections. I can view them all. I can look through them. I can start removing guys that are either double the same teammates. I didn't even limit their constructor, so I probably got bullshit constructor. Like, see, it's using 4. We need to get this Williams shit out of here. This is fucking crap. Get that out of here. I gotta get through all that. So, like, that's how I use the optimizers for F1 specifically. I just want to see all the lines that I would build with my things and then go through and pick through them all. So, like, just looking at it right now, like, realistic favorite punts. Gaijin makes a lot of sense. Probably Nico. That's what I would see right now. That's what I would see right now. I would need the other optimizers to tell me or to help me out past that. And you might even need, might be Yuki. Yuki, good old Gaijin, Nico, Botas. I think those are your builds today. Those are your captains today that you focus on. And yeah, so that's about it. If this helps anybody in any form or fashion, I hope it does. I didn't tweet it out. I didn't even want to deal with the shit of being like, what are the picks? Where's everybody else? Why does this stream suck? I'm like, look, this is not me selling anything. This is not me here. I was literally here. I was like, I might as well go live to see if anybody wants to chit chat and talk and stuff like that. So like, yeah, that's it. That's what I would do. That's what I would look at. Yeah, so the 8 of you guys here, thank you very much for being here, and enjoy the race later tonight. And don't know when I'll see you guys again. Probably live. I'll probably be playing like fucking Call of Duty later tonight or something. Maybe I'll go live for that. But best of luck, guys. Hopefully somebody wins some money. I'd rather like some small guy, somebody who isn't with one of the big sites as subscriber wins. The worst way that this race could go is like some fucking Run the Sims fucker wins the Optimal Live. That's gonna be fucking lame. I don't think we're gonna see a lot of duplicates tonight. I would not be concerned about that if you're building interesting ways and stuff. Excuse me. Yeah. Or I will say this: if Alonso wrecks out, okay. So lastly, in the event that Alonso wrecks out, I don't know if I will do this because I don't know if I'm gonna have enough lines to throw out to just piss away lines like that. But like Stroll, if Alonso wrecks out, Stroll is the optimal captain. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I would. I mean that's not even an if then statement. That is Alonso wrecks out, or God forbid, just has a bad. I would honestly be more frustrated if Alonso like finishes 13th and Stroll finishes 10th. That would piss me off more than if Alonso just wrecks out. But I think a very great leverage play. Maybe maybe I do need to build the Stroll line because that makes a lot of sense. If Alonso wrecks out, Stroll is the winning captain. He's absolutely the winning captain because he's starting here now. I would have to understand what position he's most likely getting in because that drops a value play of 6K out of the range. So that kills a lot of lineups. Stroll, I have him for 14th here. He most likely finishes anywhere from 14th to 9th. If he gets in the points plus the 5 points, like he's probably the winning captain. That's another reason why F1 is not necessarily projection based either. It's literally just building lineups to cover different bases. Like nobody would ever like realistically build a Stroll captain lineup because you need Alonso to wreck out. Like that's just kind of a waste of $15 to build. But like when that situation happens, like it's there. And then it like also backfires like on Thursday. Like Isaiah Likely is the fill-in for Mark Andrews. Andrews gets hurt. Likely doesn't do dick. So like anybody who anybody who pivoted off of Andrews to Likely also just got fucked. So like that, I don't know. Anywho, there's that. I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the race tonight. Have some fun, and I will see you guys. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out and stuff. And I hope you guys are still doing well. Peace out.